Hello everyone. So today we'll be studying about MOST, that is Maynard's operation sequence technique, a technique that helps you determine the exact timing. Generally in industries, a stopwatch study was being conducted to get the time of a process. But what if we want to have a reference for it? How we can assess that our process is going fine in terms of its time or not, whether it's slow, whether it's medium, whether it's fast. So let's go to the next slide and get some insights of MOST. So MOST is a predetermined motion time system used in industrial settings. It breaks down tasks into basic moments and assigns a time value to each, allowing for the calculation of a standard time of a worker to complete the task efficiently and effectively. So it was founded out by H.B. Maynard and Kjell Zanden. These are the two people who gave the concepts of MOST, and it was the year around late 1960s when the concepts of MOST came into picture. Also, they were released into the world, that is in the Europe and the USA markets in 1972 and 1974. So let's go to MOST system family. That is your maxi most, basic most, and mini most, also known as higher level, intermediate level, and lower level. Maxi most is used when you have an operation frequency of less than 150 times per week and the duration between 2 minutes to several hours. And the intermediate level, that is your basic most, is used when the frequency comes out to be between 150 times per week to 1500 times per week, and also the durations comes out to be a few seconds to 10 minutes. Let's go to the mini most, the lower level most. These are having the operations which are having a frequency more than 1500 times per week, and the duration is said to be less than 10 seconds. Also, we could see that the frequency is increasing from left to right, but the time period seems to be decreasing. Let's go to the next slide. Time measurement unit, or TMU. As an operation sector, generally the calculation of time is done in TMU, not in seconds like we have in general life. In general life, we use seconds, minutes, hours as the time measurement units. But in operations, basically in MOST study and MTMs, we use TMU, time measurement units. So we could see the relation between seconds and TMU. 1 second equals to 27.8 TMU, and also the vice versa thing, that is 1 TMU equals to 0.036 seconds. So let's go to the next slide, and we have some sequence model that are predetermined and are used as it is. So these are dependent on the activities. Activity have three main tools basically: general move, control moved, and tool use. So for general move, we are having sequence model as ABG, ABP, and A. Control move, we have sequence model as ABG, MXI, and A. As you could see in the general move and control move, the difference lies between ABP and MXI. For the tool use, ABG, ABP underscore ABPA. What that underscore signifies is tool use. Also, we could use an asterisk in place of this underscore wherever required. In some means in some books you'll be getting underscore, in some books you'll be getting asterisk. So don't get confused. These are the same thing. Let's go to the next slide. Instead of taking general move, control move, and tool use as separate entities, what I have done is I have taken the sequences in fragments. Like ABG, I have taken one. Whether it will come into general move, whether it will come into your tool use, whether it will come into your control move, it will have the same meaning. So A is for action distance, B is for body motion, G is for gain control. Action distance, as said, that the distance that you'll be taking or covering to get the thing, to get the product that you have to process, right? So B is your body motion, how your body will be. Will you be standing? Will you be bending? Will you be bending and rising? So these are the body motions that could happen. And gain control is whether the product was lightweight when you tried to lift it up, or whether you when you try to gain the control of it, whether you have to take certain things, certain motions. ABP is your action distance, as same as A in the previous ABG ones. B is your body motion, similar to the previous one. P is placement, how you keep the object, whether you have to do certain alignments while keeping the object or not. Similarly, MXI, M stands for move control, X stands for process time, I stands for alignment, how you are aligning the tool that you are having, the machine that you are having, right? So as I have shown you, asterisk sign as well as the underscore signifies your tool action, and A stands for return. The last A that you will be getting in everything will be return, how you are returning to your initial position, or from where you are returning to your initial position, right? So let's go to the next slide. And general move sequence model values. For having certain calculation, you should have certain reference values which you will be taking, comparing it with the current scenario of yours, and then calculating the time period. So we have ABG, ABP and A for general move. So ABG stands for get, ABP stands for put, A stands for return, as I have already told you. So there are certain index numbers. How you can read those indexes, you can do certain things by breaking the big process into smaller process. You will get the values of A action distance. Like if you are occupying any object that is within the periphery of yours, then you'll be taking the action distance. Like if it's 1 hand distance from you, so it's nearer to you, the action distance comes out to be within reach, so index will be taken as 1. Or if it's just lying just 2 or 3 fingers from you, that is approximately 2 inches to 5 centimeters, then you will be taking index as 0. Okay, you don't have to do much efforts, it won't take much time. So the index values, the time taking process will have a higher index, but the time which the processes that won't be taking much time will have a lower index, right? So let's go to the action distances and read those. If the action distances is less than 2 inches, you'll have index value 0. If it is within reach, that within 1 arm distance or so, you'll be having index as 1. 1 to 2 steps, if you are moving to take the object, then it's 1 to 2 steps, then it is 3 index. And 3 to 4 steps, the index becomes 6. 5 to 7 steps, index becomes 10. 8 to 10 steps, that index becomes 16. So as you could see, the distance increases, the index also increases. Let's go to the body motion. For 0 and 1 index, there is no body motion. Stand, sit or stand. Bend and arise 50% occasionally. That you have to go to your haunches and then arise. So the time taken will be same. So this will be, index will be 3. For bend and arise, you have to sit down to the ground and then you have to arise. It will take around index as 6. Sit or stand with adjustments. If you have to adjust the object in between while sitting or standing, or you have to adjust yourself, then also the index will take a value of 10. Sit and stand and bend, bend and sit, climb on and off, through door, these will have an index of 16. So generally these values, these are not very much predominantly used, but yeah, if case arises, then this index could be used. So for gaining control, get, grasp. So for when you are grasping the object, if it's a light object, then you'll be having index 1. Okay, if you have to arrange the object, then it's light object non-CMO, then it is 3. Heavy and bulky, then it is also index 3. Blind or obstructed, then it is also, if you are not able to see whether the object where it is kept or something is blocking your vision, then it is also an index 3, because you become very much cautious when you are not able to see the thing. So you'll not be able to pick it up with so much efficiency and so much swiftly, right? So disengage, interlock and collect. When you are removing something, when you are interlocking something, or when you are collecting something, these are also the thing that comes under index 3. And for the placement thing, P, that is pick up or toss, the index becomes 0, means you are just throwing out the things. Then pick up or toss is its placement. Okay, and lay aside, if you are just keeping the thing at a certain distance, then it is lay aside. Loose fit, so these are the things that will have index 1. Loose fit, blind or obstructed, when you are not having the vision and you have to keep the object, then it also takes certain times because you will be cautious, so index will become 3. The adjustments, if you have to make certain adjustments while placing the object, then it's also becomes index 3. Light pressure, if you have to stick certain thing while keeping it, okay, so then also you have to apply a light amount of pressure, then index becomes 3. Double placement, if you have to place it twice somewhere, 1 times, 2 times in certain processes, then also index becomes 3. Care and precision, if you have to precisely keep something, smaller objects take time, so index becomes 6. Heavy pressure, you have to apply heavy pressure while keeping it, okay, so that it doesn't falls off and dislocates, then also index becomes 6. And blind or obstructed, as I have already told you, intermediate moves, certain intermediaries in certain processes happens where you have to keep the objects for sometimes, place the objects for sometimes, then also index becomes 6. Also on the right we could see that action distances extended values, when people have to travel more and more steps, so the index value also increases. So it is also shown in this, and distances are also given in feet and meters. You could take it as a reference and perform the calculations. The next is control move sequence model values. In this, ABG is your get, MXI is your move or actuate, A is your return, as I have already told. Control move has similar kinds of indexes like the general move has. ABG will work in the similar pattern the general move was working. Let's talk about the MXI, that is move control, process time and alignment. So move controlled is your push or pull or turn. Okay, if you are pushing something less than 12 inches, then the index will be 1. If you are pushing something or pulling something which is greater than 12 inches, then the index will become 3. Similarly, if it happens in 2 stages, that is greater than 24 inches or 60 centimeters, then the index will become 6. So push, pull, turn. Turn, if you are having a button or a switch or a knob that you have to rotate, then it will become, index becomes 1. And seat, unseat, high control, these are the things in which index becomes 3. Depending upon the case to case, all things will vary. Crank. If you are using a crankshaft or a tool that you can use to turn something, so for 1 revolution it will take 3 index. 2 to 3 revolution it will take as index 6, and 4 to 6 revolution it will take index as 10, and 7 to 11 it will take 16 as the value. Process time, the process time that you will be having while completing this, because these are control moves, generally the machine will be taking care of all these things. So 1 revolution will be taken by the machines only. Okay, so generally the process time happens like for the index value 1, if you are pushing something, pulling something, if it takes your time will be around 0.5 seconds, 0.01 minutes, 0.0001 hour. Okay, so these will be the things that will be giving your index 1. Or if you will be having time as 1.5 seconds, 2 minutes, 0.0004 hours, then it will have 3 seconds as the time. If the process takes time from 2.5 seconds or 0.04 minute or 0.0007 hours, these are the converted into hours and minutes. So the index value becomes 6. Okay, as the time increases, the index value also increases. Alignment, if the machine aligns on 1 point, then index value will be 1. Like if you are having a pneumatic screwdriver, that it aligns into 1 point only, because the screw will take only 1 point. And if you have to align 2 points at the same time, then there's a slightly more chances of taking more time, so that way the index is given 3. As well as if greater than 4 points and the distance is greater than 4 inches, that is 10 centimeter, and you have to align the things together, then alignment will take an index of 6. As well as if it's highly precise, then the index will take 16 as the value, right? So M, push or pull extended values are also given, where index and steps are given. Alignment, how much alignment is to be there, index is 3 workpiece and 6 scale, 10 is digital indicator dial, and similarly the cranking values are also given, crank values. Alignment of non-typical objects are given, typical objects characteristics are given, whether your object is flat, large, flimsy, sharp, difficult to handle, etc. Now let's go to the tool use sequence model. If you are using any kind of tool, that is your screwdriver, your wrench, anything like that, so there are what we could see in this is ABG remains the same, ABP remains the same, or the star value that I told you, the asterisk or the underscore, and these values are given over here. ABP is aside tool, A is your return. Okay, so in this all the things will be happening around the tool that you will be using to perform a process on an object, right? So fasten or loosen, basically F and L are given in the tool action, okay, and index values are given. Finger action spins if you are using your fingers for fingers or screwdriver that you are using to spin something, that you are fastening or loosening something. So if you are taking one as the fasten, if your nut becomes tight, if you will just turn it once, so 1, so index will be 1. Similarly 2, 3, 8, 16, 25, 35, 47, 61, the values increases of the index, right? So wrist action power tool, okay, wrist action power tool, your turns, hand screwdriver, ratchet and T wrenches. For those also, if you will be taking 1, 3, 5, 9, 13, 17, 23, 29 turns, then these values will increase of the index. Stroke, wrenches, wrench that you are having, how much strokes that you are taking, cranks, wrench, ratchet, the tools that are using for crank, and taps that you are making, tapping, hand hammers, etc. So these are the tools that you'll be using. So these are the values, how much fastening or loosening you are doing, and so for those index values will be there. If there's because turning takes your wrist action, and similarly is your arm action, in which you'll be using your whole arm. So you could see that when you are using ratchet for turning something, it will for one turn it has an index value of 3, whereas in the case of your finger action, when you are using one turn, then the index value was 1. Similarly, as per the case, as per the tool used, as per the thing, the action that you are taking, whether it's wrist action or arm action, the index values will change. So P is your tool placement. So these are also giving you the index numbers for those. Let's go to the next slide, and we could have certain not so used sequence models like these general move, control move, and your tool use. These were the most prominently used sequence models. But what if the sequence model is not predominantly used or used in some other sectors like supply chain management? So for transportation, that comes under the logistics. So for manual, A, T, K, F, B, L, V, P, T, and A. Okay, so T stands for transport entity, K stands for hook or unhook, F stands for area congestion level, V stands for vertical motion, L stands for transport with load. All the other things, that's A, P, and your A is for action, basically action motion, and P is your for putting something, and A is for return. So A is for action distance, and P is for putting something, A is for return. Similarly for motorized also we could do it, right? So this is all for today. In the next slide we'll be having a certain real video and I have already performed certain calculations while I was in the industry. So I'll share those calculations with you, how I calculated the things, how the frequency was calculated, how the TMUs were calculated, and then how the seconds were calculated. It took me certain time. If you are thinking that in the first instant you will give the exact timing, that's not even possible, but that's not impossible as well. Maybe many of you could do it on the first instant, but it took me around 6 months to get the exact calculation, because what most study needs, it needs a video of the processes that is going on, so that by seeing the touch points or the processes or the intermediary processes that are happening or the smaller activities that are happening, so those are to be studied in the detailed manner. So after studying those, the values of those variables, whether it's general move, whether it's control move, is taken into consideration, and then the calculation of the time is done. So I hope this video was very beneficial for you. You could go through these concepts first, then in the next video I'll be giving you the video of a real processes that is happening, and we'll calculate it all together, that what the time comes, and were we able to calculate the process exactly, so that you could be doing it in your industries or wherever you are doing it. You could also present it in your projects as well in the colleges and all. That could be good. I personally learned it, and while being on the job, so on job learning is very much effective as compared to off job learning. So yeah, thank you very much guys, and we'll meet in the next video. Bye bye.